Alright, so on my last video, I think I might have had like an eye booger. And so it's an art piece, the video. Um, it kind of measures what your focus is on. It's like a focal point in the painting. It 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 sees what the audience focuses on more, on the message or something gross. It shows what information is in your brain. What tools are you using to solve problems in your brain? And it's like having black skin. So most people can only count to one, right? They see what they see, and everything else is gross. And then that's how you become quote unquote racist. It's just an immature brain that says, gross, you are different from me. Gross. Okay? So they can only count to one. They only know this, whether you're Asian, Mexican, Korean, Indian, whatever. This is all they see. This is all they understand. I'm Caucasian, you're African American, you are different from me, therefore you're gross. All right? So this is what happened with the Romans, in American history as well, with the whites and the blacks. You can see Charlize Theron. Charlize Theron, she doesn't have that history, right? When you say black, like black skin, she's like, I live in South Africa. I see that all the time. She doesn't have that history, right? She has a different history in her brain than other people, right? So what happened with Rome and white America and Molly, Kimberly, and Carly, the Time sisters, is that they had no reference. It was the first time they saw a black person. It's the first time they saw the multiverse for Time, for Molly and Time. And to them, they did this horrible thing to men. Therefore, you're black. You're different from me. And they react that way. They react like a child would, where it's like, I'm white, you're black, gross. I booger, you're gross. You are a booger. You have cooties. They can only count to one, right? Their brain is blank. They have no reference point. That's why today in America, if you say black, slavery, right? That's the first thing their mind goes to. In Atlantis, when you say Jesus, the first thing they go to is Jesus, the history of Jesus. But if you switch, if you ask Americans about Atlantis, they're like, we don't know, we don't care. Oh, it's about Jesus. We don't know, we don't care. Right? It's that Charlize Theron effect, where they didn't live it. So they just don't care. Right? And then furthermore, Australians didn't have a black history. So if you say black there, they'll be like, we have no clue what you're talking about, mate. Right? So even in Canada, it's like, yo, when you say black, we don't have that history. We don't connect it with slavery. We don't connect it with Jesus. We just don't have that history, right? It's blank. It's completely blank. So that's why my last video is an art piece where I want to see what the audience focuses on. What is your focus? Is it on my message or is it on something gross? If it's on something gross, you know where your mind's at. You don't have enough experience, right? So with men had a lot of experience on Earth with the multiverse. He's like, oh, blacks or the multiverse. Let's consider the multiverse black compared to men's white. The time kids, they're white. And all the future kids are all black. Men would be like, Huang is funny. He has a lot of reference points, right? It doesn't go to slavery. Huang's like, Huang is funny. I lived in a good home. Mrs. Wright is dope. I had a good college experience. He has a lot of good memories with the black people. So men doesn't have that racist kind of gross mentality, right? That's why Molly, Kimberly, Carly, they can only count to one. They don't have enough experience and they just reacted violently, right? They're just little kids. They can't count. Basically what I'm saying is you can't count, right? So if you see things as gross, it means you can't count, right? You're like, there's me, and then there's you, and that's gross. It's gross to be you, and you're not like me. It's gross. You can't count. No, there's you, there's this person, there's this person, there's this person. They're all different. They're all different. All right. So yeah, it's an art piece. It's that small clip. It's a simple message, and whatever you focus on, it shows your brain maturity or the lack thereof. You just don't have enough experience with different people. All right. So there's the mature brain who has a lot of experience with a lot of different people. And there's that immature brain, the Catherines, the Annas, the Margarets, the Dannys, ew, you're different from me, you're gross. Ew, you're so gross, you're different from me. All right, that's a little immature brain. You don't have enough experience with other groups, different groups. All right. So that's all. That's me explaining my art piece on my last video. And that's it. It's to see what the audience focuses on. If you focus on something gross, it means your brain is trying to process and it just can't understand it. If you understand the message as well as, maybe there's an eye booger there, then you have more experience with, and as you grow older, you look back at it, it seems less and less gross because you've grown up. So that's my explanation of that clip.